All right, let's get to guest number two, and I believe I am joined with singer-songwriter Beth Crowley. How's it going?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for being on the show this evening. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So I noticed you released a song just a few days ago, Manipulated. Congratulations on that. Awesome song,
Thank
by the
you.
way. I
Thank you
noticed
very much.
I noticed in one of your Facebook posts that it is inspired by two notable singers back in the 2000s. Those that I'm a fan of. Artists like Vanessa Colton, Michelle Branch, um, those that type of era. Talk about recording that song "Manipulated." Give us the backstory on having this song, putting this song together.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely grew up with Michelle Branch and Vanessa Carlton as kind of big inspirations of singer-songwriters. And so for, writing that song, I wanted to give it that kind of feel of like a little bit angsty and going into the production, that was definitely one thing that I told my producer was I wanted to make sure, we referenced kind of the sound of the early 2000s female singer songwriters, but with like a little bit of an updated feel. And so we actually went through because I can't remember what his name is, but there was a producer, I guess, around that era that did a lot of like Matchbox 20 and Goo Goo Dolls, and so very like iconic for the sound that was popular then with pop music. So we listened to a bunch of early 2000s music and built the track from there, and I love how it turned out.
Yeah, that song is awesome. I
Thank you.
remember let's going back to the TRL days. That is how I heard of Michelle Branch and Vanessa Carlton, two talented musicians in their own right. They've had hit songs. Michelle Branch had some hit songs, and she had a bigger hit with Carlos Santana back in the day.
Yeah,
So they still doing music after all these years, mostly independent now. But just to see music like that from artists like you, I say that's pretty awesome.
thank you. Yeah, I definitely same thing like TRL, and then I think the channel back then was ABC Family, and they had a countdown of music that was kind of similar to what TRL was doing, but it was made more for a younger audience. And so I remember, watching that countdown, and I remember seeing Michelle Branch play everywhere on that show, and just like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And then as a kid taking piano lessons, seeing Vanessa Carlton, who played piano like me and wrote her own music, was very inspirational as well. So I'm very partial to that kind of time period of music.
So I remember just watching Carson Daly hosting the show, and like when you have that number one video, people treat it like if it's the number one song on the Billboard charts. That's just how big of a deal it was back then, and it also show how big of a deal it is having the music videos that stand out. Some people keep it simple, like Michelle, Vanessa, like 1,000 miles with Vanessa when she just playing the piano throughout the entire song. Like that was pretty
Yeah,
awesome. So,
I
yeah.
actually saw she did, I think it was with Vice or one of those outlets. She actually did a YouTube video where she talked about the making of that song and talked about how the music video was actually not green screened at all. Like they had this big truck pulling that baby grand piano while she played, and they just drove around, I think, Los Angeles. So it was really cool all of these years later getting a little bit of behind the scenes picture of how that song was made and how that video was made.
Yeah, absolutely. So check out this song from Beth. It is called Manipulated. and it's available on all the platforms. The song just came out just a few days ago, and she also got some other songs out. Nobody Else But You, In the End, Not Like This, and Manipulated. And she also released a lyric video for Manipulated as well. So go check that out as well. Um, so you having a very busy year with these songs. How do you feel about 2021 in general with everything that's going on with this ongoing pandemic and people live music is really back up and running again? How do you feel about your year in general?
I definitely think, for me, like for a lot of people, 2020 and 2021 have been difficult. I actually put out most of my music online anyway. So when everything shut down, I was very fortunate in that I didn't really have much of a change of how I was putting out music because I wasn't relying a lot on live shows. I usually put everything out online. And I was able to keep the release schedule that I've been doing the last couple years, which is releasing a new song every month. So I didn't see much of an interruption as far as like the business side. Creatively, it was challenging because I think a lot of people were trying to navigate these very strange times, and I've told people that I think um, musicians and people that are in the art felt an extra little bit of pressure because that's what people were relying on to get them through. Um, so you kind of felt this need to like take care of other people too, to be there for them with your music, and feeling that like weight of responsibility was kind of intense. But luckily, it seems like things are kind of starting to come back and to ease up a little bit. So I'm excited to see what comes next because I think people have found a lot of really creative ways to put out their music, and I hope that that will continue with people thinking outside of the box on putting out releases and making videos and just some of the interesting things we've seen people do over the last couple of years.
Well said. And obviously being an independent artist, definitely, it takes a lot to get your music out and, getting, noticed out there. Um, so I see that you are represented by Publicity Nation. I've been in good friends with Jill and Brittany for the last year, literally through this entire pandemic, and they've introduced me to so many talented musicians in the last year and a half plus, including yourself. What's it like to have people like Jill, Brittany, and the rest of Publicity Nation to help get your music out there?
I mean, they've been great. I've been working with them for 6 months and am very, very appreciative of all of the people that they've put me in touch with. And it's nice sometimes because, especially when you are an independent artist, you wear a lot of different hats. So you're your own agent, your own manager, and it's nice sometimes to be able to hand off a piece of that to other people, and especially people that seem to genuinely care about you as an artist and the music that you're making. So it's definitely made things easier for me to be able to focus on just the creating part, to have them help spread the word and do that kind of publicity aspect of it.
Yeah, if you definitely need that help getting your music out there, you definitely reach out to Publicity Nation. They got you covered regardless of what genre that you're doing. They're gonna take care of you. You're gonna make sure that they get your music out there one way or another. I see that you are in the Halloween spirit. I checked out your Instagram, and your latest post was when you want to support your dogs, but also the day before Halloween. You had like a Halloween jacket on, and then you got your Georgia Bulldogs who put a beating on Florida
Yes.
earlier today. So with that being said, we're on the eve of Halloween. Got the holiday, Halloween weekend going on. You got any plans for Halloween tomorrow? What's your plans?
So, my husband and I, we live in house in a suburban neighborhood, and one of our favorite things is to hand out candy. And this is the first Halloween that will be in this particular house, but it seems like they're pretty active with Halloween, as was the neighborhood that we lived in before this. And so one of our favorite things to do is we go all out, we put out the decorations, we get dressed up, and we hand out candy and make chili, and usually do some apple cider with cinnamon whiskey, which is a great beverage combination, and just have a good time. We're a full size bar house, so we get full size airheads. So kids always seem to enjoy that, and we just have a good time with it. But Halloween has probably become one of my favorite, if not my favorite, holidays. So I'm excited about it. I hope the weather will be decent for tomorrow night, 'cause it's been a little dreary the last couple of days, but I know it usually doesn't stop kids from wanting to go trick or treating, so it'll be
Absolutely
fun.
not. Especially the kids. Like it could be drenched in rain, and they will like convince their parents we can still get candy, right? Like they would do whatever it takes to get candy one way or another, regardless
Absolutely.
of the weather, whether it's decent, whether it's a bit too cold per se. So I live in Kentucky. We got complicated weather out here. It could be warm one day, it could be cold the next day. Yeah, it's kind of it's got bipolar type weather out here. So
Yeah.
it's pretty rough. So we get into the last 2 months of the year. You already got music out with Manipulated as your latest single. Um, what do you have planned for musically for the last 2 months? Are you gonna get to perform? What's next for you in these last few months of the year?
Well, I've got one more recording session here in a couple weeks, but I've got my schedule so that I'll actually be working on my single that I'll release in February. So I've already got something lined up for early December, because the holidays, it's a time where a lot of people are putting out music, a lot of people are putting out holiday music. So I've got one more song coming out this year, and I'm actually really looking forward to taking a little bit of time off. I've been hitting the pavement for a while now, and I think I've got my schedule so that I can take a little break from recording and writing, but I shouldn't have any kind of interruption in my release schedule, which is great. But yeah, so I've got one more in December, and then start back up the year, hopefully in 2022, doing roughly a song a month, maybe a little bit less, but we'll just kind of see what the year brings.
I like your bio on Instagram. It says songwriter, book nerd, knows how to put her finger in the pulse of pain. That's my
Yeah.
favorite part. Stream
I
my
get some pretty I get some pretty great comments on my videos. I'm very, very fortunate that I've got a very like beautiful rare scenario where, for the most part, I get very, very positive, and feedback and supportive comments from people, and sometimes they leave comments for me that really stand out. And that one was definitely one that stood out, and I felt like if you could, put one little descriptor of my music, then that's kind of perfect.
So you can follow Beth on Instagram at Beth J Crowley. That's Crowley, and she has a link tree link, and you click on that, and she's got all of her social media links there, her digital music um, links out there as far as where you can hear her music and stuff. So check out her latest single, Manipulated, that is available on all other platforms right now. And check that out, especially if you're into some Vanessa Carlton and Michelle Branch. Go check that out. You definitely will be very happy with that. Um, so I want to talk about the album cover of Manipulated. Talk about the story behind that. Who came up with the art? Who came up with the cover for Manipulated?
Yeah, so I love building a team of people that I can work with regularly. And so for the longest time I was making my own album artwork and ended up deciding that, I wanted to maybe bring somebody on that's got better skills than I do. So there's this guy, Ben Seckler, that I started working with I guess maybe 4 or 5 singles ago, and he's a great graphic designer. And usually, I send him the song, send him the lyrics, and he just kind of takes it and runs with it. And I definitely told him that kind of early 2000s like grungy pop was the inspiration, and he knocked it out of the park like he always does.
Awesome work. Shout out to him. Shout out to all the creators out there. Uh, so it's great having you on the show. Thank you so much for being on. Continued success and everything. I look forward to hearing more music from you in 2022. And be safe out there. Have a great Halloween with the trick or treaters out there. And be safe out there. Thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope you have a great Halloween as well.
All right, you have a good night.
All right, thanks. You too.
All right, bye bye.